Let's get the views now, as I said, of the Daily Telegraph football news correspondent. Matt Law joins us. Matt, hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, guys. You okay?
I'm good, I'm very well. Listen, firstly, I'd like to ask this question. When we all find out when it breaks on the telly, when did you actually know?
Well, to be honest, in terms of the actual being sure he'd been sacked, it came as, the timing of it came as a surprise to a lot of people. So I think most of us knew at the time of the announcement. Now, I think also a lot of us who cover Chelsea knew this could be on the horizon and knew that there were sort of problems in the background, but probably didn't expect it quite this quickly.
Why do you think it has happened now that he's had a chance to spend £280 million and the window has closed? It feels like it's been a decision that's been made on the back of a defeat, but I'd like to think that no owner of a club will sack a manager after 6 games in the Premier League and a 1-0 away defeat in the Champions League. There must be more thought process behind it.
No, look, I'm assured that he would have been sacked today, win, lose or draw in Zagreb. It was nothing to do with the Zagreb game. It's not even really to do with anything to do with the results and sort of below performances this season either. It stretches back to the summer. I mean, I was with them in the US on their US tour of the summer, and Tuchel didn't seem right. Everything didn't seem right behind the scenes between him and the owners. He kept saying that he didn't like the sort of new role he had helping out with the transfers, and things have obviously escalated since then. And the owners have always said that they would review things after 100 days in charge, and I think that review probably within the last fortnight has led them to conclude that long term they're not going to go forward with Thomas Tuchel.
But isn't that mad to do just after the window closes and they've given him nearly £300 million to spend?
Well, look, I mean, from their point of view, there's no football experience within that ownership group. So to get through a transfer window, albeit with a manager you might not carry on with, he was the only guy in the room who really could give any football experience in terms of opinions on the players. And I think they would argue that all the players they've signed are players that most managers would accept. You know, not many managers are going to turn their noses up at Raheem Sterling, Wesley Fofana, Cucurella. I think Aubameyang is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb, because that signing looked from the outside to be a signing predominantly just for Thomas Tuchel, and yet that has proved to be a red herring.
Matt, so we obviously know what the old regime was like. Managers come in, they get a bit of instant success, and then usually when the wheels start to fall off a little bit, they get sacked. Do you think that could be a difference under this new module, or do you think it's just going to continue the exact same?
I think actually, I mean, the easy conclusion to draw is that it's exactly the same and that they're just as harsh. But actually, if you look at it a bit closer and think about it, I think it's the exact opposite. When you think that the likelihood is that Graham Potter is going to be confirmed as Thomas Tuchel's successor pretty quickly, that's very much an appointment about the long term and not necessarily about an appointment about trying to win trophies immediately. You know, if you were trying to win a cup this season, you'd probably stick with Thomas Tuchel rather than going for Graham Potter. But if you're looking for a long-term project and someone who you want to give a 5-6 year contract to, then it's probably Graham Potter. So I actually think, even though it's hard to probably convince people right now, that in actual fact this decision proves the opposite.
Matt, and you've said there about Graham Potter. Do you think he is the right person for that role as a Chelsea manager? Because a lot of people will throw at you that he's not got the experience, he's not managed at the top level. But as a coach, we obviously know he's very good. Do you think he'd be suited for that role?
Well, look, he has managed in Europe with Östersund, where he got them to the last 32 of the Europa League. I know it's a completely different thing than managing Chelsea in the Champions League, but I think he would argue he does have some European experience. Granted, he has no big club experience, but for every reason that they've sacked Tuchel in terms of communication, they lost faith in the fact that they didn't feel that he was in it for the long haul, for the fact that they want to build a different new culture at Chelsea. For every reason they've actually sacked Tuchel is probably a reason to actually appoint someone like Potter. I think from the outside, from what I'm hearing, what the ownership want to do, they look a great fit. And I think as well, if you don't get Potter now, so, you know, at some point someone else is going to take him.
100%.
There is a lot of speculation surrounding other managers. Obviously, Potter is at the top of the list. Zidane's another one. Pochettino is another one heavily linked to the job. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be looking at this one very closely.
He'll be trying to get the Leicester doors as quick as possible.
I'm sure he will. But from what you understand, Matt, is it Potter and no one else for Chelsea?
Look, they're talking to Potter today. They've had permission from Brighton. Mm-hmm. And I think we've got to the stage now where something's got to go wrong in that meeting, or an issue has got to come up for it to become anyone else. They've certainly got other people on the list. Definitely Maurizio Pochettino. They may well talk to Pochettino, but I don't think they have yet. So, I think it's Potter's to lose, basically. I think something's got to go badly wrong for Potter to not get it. And Chelsea know the money it's going to cost to take him out of Brighton, so I don't think that's a problem at all.
Okay, and I'm just curious, because you guys know stuff before it breaks, understandably. That's, the industry we all work in. When do you think Potter would have been sounded out for this job?
That is such an impossible question to answer. I know for sure that the request literally went into Brighton less than hours after Tuchel was sacked. So in terms of Chelsea going to Brighton, it was less than an hour after they'd sacked Thomas Tuchel. But I've got to be honest, guys, I couldn't even begin to speculate when talks might have happened with Potter.
Okay. All right. In your opinion, you think Potter will be the next Chelsea manager?
Yes.
Okay. Matt, always a pleasure. Thanks for
Matt.
coming on.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.